Oh, there it is, Dan. There's the giveaway. How are you, young fella?
I'm doing all right. How about you?
You're looking well. I gotta say, we've been chatting a little bit, but it's been too long. I used to love because you and I used to work together up by Pittsburgh and in different areas of a big factory. But when we would come and we'd meet up like at the main aisleway and we'd start talking, and then 9 times out of 10 the conversation would denigrate into nothing about work, and it was usually pretty fun.
Well, that's how I used to get information out of you. I'd put you in a relaxed state, and
Oh,
you'd be honest with me. Yeah,
well, you sound like my dad, the chiropractor. That's how he would like do that, manipulate me, and he would just like break well, not break my neck, but a total respect for the chiropractic institution. But he'd be like, "So tell me this night how you been?" Oh, whoa, whoa, okay,
I had a wrestling coach that thought he was a chiropractor or something.
yeah, I believe it. But I'm glad to touch base with you. In fact, I'm gonna raise one to you now out of and there's a reason for this. My Mitch Wonders coffee mug, which now has, I swear, ice water in it.
Yeah,
But I wanted to bring up the fact that the Mitch Wonders merch store at mitchwonders.com is open for business. All you got to do is go to mitchwonders.com, hit shop up in the upper left, I believe it is, and it'll open up a couple pages. Now it's two pages. Two are the links. One is the link to my book. The other is the link to yeah, I wrote a book. How about them apples, Dan? I
I didn't
know
know you. I didn't know you knew that many words.
it's not a book, it's a pamphlet. Who we kidding? But But the other link is to the merch store, and I wanted to update everybody. Yeah, the merch store is updated with some colder weather stuff in there, and including a glass for bourbon. Hey, it's cold weather. But uh, but I want to note that if you page down and look at the PowerPoint down there, there's a tag on one of the shirts that was designed specifically for this purpose, and every one of those shirts that's purchased, 100% of the proceeds go to support the National Veterans Foundation. So if you want to
Nice.
help Mitch, get in there and support the merch store. If you want to help our veterans and buy that, we both would appreciate. And trust me, every penny will go to it. But speaking of pennies and numbers, that's what we're here for today. We're going to talk about some of the more interesting numbers in life because let's face it, Dan, they're chucked at us all the time. It's like that's these numbers keep coming in. I'm like, hold up. What's the really important stuff?
Yeah, like why does everybody think that you should get more than three glasses out of a bottle of wine? Uh,
I knew we were on the same page. Lately, I've been, trying to, because I'm all about efficiency, and I just been taking a bendy straw and putting right into the end of it.
I like the way you think. Yeah.
Work savings. Well, we'll touch on some important numbers, but we'll start with I think we should start with the basics, kind of build the foundation. Like, the the years of, correspond to stages of growth and supposedly growth in your life. Um, like they talk about, we're both parents. They talk about infancy and early childhood. And I don't know about you, but I got warned about terrible twos. Not that big a deal.
Not bad. Well, it depends on which perspective. When the kids were terrible twos, or when I was terrible too.
Well, yeah, that's true because when I was terrible too, I probably weighed about as much as I do now. So
See, I didn't. We were starved. We we were told to graze. If you want something to eat, good. And it's out in the yard.
yeah, I
No,
was the fifth of what would soon to be nine kids, and I don't know,
oof.
but the food must have been good up in Chicago because I was eating a bunch of it.
No. I mean, we were holy terrors. My parents would go grocery shopping, and it was like locusts. Growing up with two brothers, yeah, the groceries are gone. We went grocery shopping on Friday. They were gone Saturday.
Well, that's what I wanted to warn people, not warn people about, but the heads up, and maybe you'll agree. But we talk about ages 1 to 5, middle
Yep.
childhood 5 to 11, nothing. But when they turn heads up, 13, you better have your money saved for your food budget because along with everything else, it's like they're forming identities, they're exploring new roles, trying to establish independence from their parents. Between 12 and 18, I get it, but they start pretty early, don't they?
Oh, they do. They do, and the thing about having multiple kids, multiple children, is that the younger children get to witness what the older children do and how the
Uh-huh.
parents react.
Uh-huh. Exactly.
So now, okay, we know what brother Tom did. We don't want to do that because we saw what mom did.
We saw how dad reacted to that.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes, and I always thank my sister Kathy for that. I'm not doing that. But yeah, but then they talk, we get into, after 18, they do a big lump. They call it early childhood, 19 to 40. Okay, I get it, but because I mean that's these are just like stages of adulthood, but the middle, they call the middle adulthood. They call middle adulthood 40 to 65. I guess they didn't want to say middle age.
Okay. So yeah, so growing up the way I grew up with multiple siblings and now having a son-in-law, I've done just a sincere study that guys, boys, males, they generally don't pull their head out of the rectum until about the age of 30. So
Huh.
later in middle adulthood, yeah, that's about right.
Yeah, I was forced to yank mine out when I was, I think 38. But uh,
Okay,
but no,
all right.
I think that's when I think when I was notified I was going to get a divorce. Anyway, but no, because I had always known, Dan, and I think I've mentioned to people before that I would be married with two kids at age 26, and I was. I don't know how I knew it, but I was. I didn't know how they would both come to me. Like one was born prematurely and the other was adopted, but I knew I would be, and that's what happened. So that'll force you to grow up.
Indeed, yeah, it does. It does. My my first daughter was born when I was 19, and that I still wasn't ready to grow up, and it was the wrong thing to do. But it was done. She's a great young lady. She brought us a grandchild. But again, I was actually I heard her husband's head pop when it came out. So yeah.
And it's so tough. It's got to be so tough for a dad to watch that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
His
It
daughter,
absolutely
like,
is.
but But as far as like, those are the stages of growth. I mean, of course, they go to late adult after 65, and you and I are nowhere near that. So, but that we both shouldn't laugh out loud about that. But that stage they say involves reflecting on life and developing a sense of integrity. We might want to start that, you and I. We want to work on that
No,
integrity
not ready for that yet. No.
and satisfaction with one's accomplishments. I'm definitely not happy. I'm not ready for that. That's for sure.
I'd have to accomplish something first.
Yeah, I know. But now, as far as like what I'm trying not to say the important stuff, but legal and financial milestones, which is like, okay, this is a little more cut and dry because 16 is when you're old enough to get a driver's license. That's a big deal. And 18, Dan, I don't know if you've read these notes, but this is the one that kind of pissed me off. I don't know how about because you've grown up in Pennsylvania your entire life, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
They talk about 18, like a couple of things in here. Number one, legal adulthood, granting the right to vote. Now, great. Now, these are, I think we should also point out that these are all milestones that are relevant to the United States. And 15% of, and I'm really grateful for, of Mitch's audience is from outside of the United States. We've
That's
got
awesome.
consistent following in India, Canada, Mexico. I actually did a remote from Sweden. We had a follower there for a while. That was great. But in the UK, of course. So bear in mind, these are all like United States milestones. But when I was like turning 18, number one, and I don't know about you because you're like a probably generation before me. You're that much younger, but it's but we were required to not we weren't like able to join the military. We were required to sign up for selective service,
Yep. Yeah, I was
and
too. Yeah, for sure.
that didn't piss me off. I just couldn't understand the logic because I couldn't go see an R-rated movie and tell parents right now if your kids are listening, plug your ears for a second. Okay, I was able to go join the military, but I couldn't go see titties. That bothered me. That I couldn't.
It
I
should.
know. I mean,
It should.
on screen, I could see them all over my hometown, but I couldn't see. I'm sorry. I'm sorry again. I apologize to my hometown, but uh, but here's another thing that pissed me off. This genuinely pissed me off because in Illinois, up until 1980, which was when I turned 18, I believe. Yeah, uh, you could buy wine and beer at 18. But before I turned 18, they pushed it to 21. Like, bastards.
And they did it because of you, probably.
Well, again, I had older siblings, so they probably saw that coming.
Okay.
We've seen what the older ones are doing,
But
which was my way around. I mean, those older siblings were buying me beer at probably 14, so
I just lost a brother-in-law recently that he was just turned 60, and he's been drinking since he was 14. And the only reason I bring it up is he was the one that brought me my first six pack illegally. Yeah.
yeah. I
So
mean, I swear to, I mean, I'll hand to God, I wasn't concerned about beer until, and it's not because of this, but till I met the lady who would be my wife, and she had
yeah,
her own home, and in her refrigerator she had a 12 pack of beer. I'm like, son of a bitch, you can do that? You, you
in
can,
the refrigerator.
I'm not, you can have your own beer at home because before then I was in college or living at home, like I had no idea and no money. So, but now the legal age is 21. And at 50, they say these are more benchmark years, legal and financial benchmark numbers. You're eligible to make catch-up contributions to your retirement account, whatever. I don't even know what that means because that means you've got cash above and beyond food and beer. So, but at
Yeah.
62, you can start taking early retirement. And then 65 is I didn't know this. I don't know why I wasn't paying attention, but 65, you're eligible for Medicare. I didn't know.
Oh yeah. Yep. Can't wait. No, I'm kidding. Uh, I'll wait. But
Yeah, yeah,
um, let's go back to 18 if we can.
sure.
Specifically the right to vote. Um, Based on some conversations I've recently had, I think that right to vote should expire. A
What do you
lot like
mean?
16, a lot like 16, you get a driver. Well, we had we had a little town, the town that I grew up in. They had I don't know if you knew about Corning Glass or World Kitchen or whatever the case may
Sure.
be, but yeah, sure. Well,
Corn and glass for sure.
one of the main plants was in Charlotte, Pennsylvania, and you might remember Charlotte, Pennsylvania, getting some notoriety with the recent during the recent election. There was what had happened was there were two industries in Charleroi. One was a food packing plant, and the other one was corn and glass.
I do.
And, and there was a influx of foreigners that moved in, and they were from Haiti or from Asia. And my 78-year-old aunt, she told me that yep, good thing Trump got rid of all the Haitians or all the no the Haitians. That so it was a mix of Haitians and Asians. I don't know
Sure.
who she was talking about. So yeah, and I said, you know what? I started thinking somebody somebody convinced you that that's a good thing because their money was still green and they were spending it in town. So you don't even know who you hate, and yeah,
Yeah.
if you're able to
It's
vote, that should be taken away.
yeah, we joke about it sometimes. It's like, if you don't understand that, you probably shouldn't be able to vote. And it's things like that. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean,
not
people want to they want to retest elderly for driver's license too, right? 16, and it's just a skill. But if you're not able to do it, you're not able to do it. But yeah,
but
don't vote.
but then we bump up to, not meaning to get off the subject, we probably should, but then we bump up to the full retirement age of 67 now. So uh yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I'm not going to do it. Uh,
But
maybe I'll start a podcast. I don't know. Uh,
trust me, don't want to do that. There's no money in that. But okay, now here's like, not that those other ones weren't, but these are very important numbers. Like when we get to the health I mean, everybody, I mean, not, yeah, I guess everybody, because we've looked at, the main, when I started this podcast, they're like, who do you want your audience to be? And I was thinking, well, me, like people my age or people in my situation. And luckily, the demographic also has grown to be from, in our case, actually the larger demographic is from 35 on up. So if we can give them a heads up on these health numbers you should be paying attention to, these are some important numbers, and some are obvious, like cardiovascular health and blood pressure. There's a healthy range, and it's these. This is all common knowledge from. This is nothing that I've made up or dug up or is like was shocking to me. But blood pressure, 120 over 80, obviously is a healthy range. Cholesterol, I'm taking medication. I don't know about you, but I take cholesterol. I take medication for cholesterol and high blood pressure, as a matter of fact. But yeah, but and I'm telling you, total cholesterol is less than 200 milligrams per deciliter, I guess, because I don't know what the DL means.
It's I don't know. I don't either. And what I find not only amazing but a little bit fascinating is that the threshold for hypertension just moved from 140 over 90 to 120 over 80.
Ooh,
Yeah.
really?
Um, so maybe 129 over 80. But I think it was because a lot of people are listening to things like this and they're realizing what their blood pressure should be, and it's undeniable that more people are exercising and they're trying to get healthy. So I think that the big pharma might have changed the threshold of hypertension so they because they were selling less blood pressure medication. I don't know.
Don't get me started on that because there's just so many ways. It's like I can't understand like how much is enough. I mean, how much money do you need? And it's
Oh yeah,
but yeah,
we
we
can talk
better.
about that too.
We tap dance around voting. We should probably tap dance around this because there could probably be like two people with like a Bayer aspirin lapel pin knocking on my door in black suits and just open the door and they beat the snot out of me. But this is another one like they bring up we talk about cholesterol and blood pressure and blood sugar as a healthy range is below 100 milligrams per deciliter as well. But body mass index. Now I'll bring up because you've heard of it, right? The BMI.
Sure, yeah.
I bring it up to a lot of people, including our fitness guru Mook on this episode or this show, and my doctor, and they both say the BMI is, pardon my French, but bullshit.
Okay, and I can believe that because if I know a lot of people that they'll out exercise me, and their BMI is mid 30s, and mine's north of 30 anyway, and I do exercise, but I mean after Halloween it just gets bad for me. I'll go on a Tootsie Roll diet for whatever the next 3 weeks, and then we're right into Thanksgiving, and I do stupid things like how many pumpkin pies should I make this year? Yeah, 12 is okay. No, 12 is not okay. It's just too
Oh,
many.
you're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. I appreciate that. Number one, you're gonna appreciate because we do have an episode going to be released shortly about that very topic. But also, you're from Pennsylvania. Why didn't I expect you to pull Hershey out.
Well, no, I don't. See, one of the things that my job has afforded me to do is travel internationally. And when I was
Oh,
overseas, yeah, you're exposed to different things. And
yeah.
I'm the guy in the neighborhood that for Halloween, I have, it's called Milka chocolate. I don't know if you've ever heard of it or had it.
Huh.
It comes in a purple kind of container, purple bar, full size bars. And yeah, it's like the people don't understand. They actually ask, do you realize that you're giving away full size bars? Yes, I do. But it's the best chocolate I've ever had, and I buy it on Amazon right before Halloween, and that's what I give out for Halloween. Now
Yeah. Well,
Hershey's,
yeah, well, I mean, when I worked with a guy at Cat who came when the York plant closed, the York Caterpillar plant closed, he came to Illinois to work, and he and I worked side by side, and he lived for Hershey's. He had the little miniatures in his pocket, but not to get off track too much before one more medical number though, because this one is very important. I mean, my doctor will tell you too. VO2 max. It's something I learned a couple of years ago. It's a measure of your body's ability to use oxygen during exercise, which is a
okay,
strong indicator of cardiovascular health and longevity. So you'll start hearing about VO2 max. The more now that you know about it, you'll hear about it more. But I don't know if you wear a smartwatch, and I don't know if you believe it, but mine says I'm doing pretty good for VO2 max.
good, good. No, and this is the first I've heard of it, and no, I don't. I have a smartwatch that I don't wear.
Well, give her a go. You might be pleasantly surprised because mine actually says I'm in the top 10 percentile for my age group, but you know.
Nice, nice.
And I also, now here's another number that should create a modicum of a sense of urgency because it's done so for me since I started looking into it. The Social Security Administration expectancy calculator. There's a link for it here, and I'll put it in the episode notes when I post this episode. But get on there and you'll find out that at my age, which is
Okay,
63, I'll tell everybody, Social Security says I got 20 years left to live. 20 years.
nice,
Yeah,
nice.
kinda. But also,
Well,
if you want, I'll put it. There's another link on there. It's called living100.com. I didn't check it out. If it's a scam, you're on your own. But if you're, but
what? So, good, good.
yeah, see, that's something to think about, right? 20 years.
Well, yeah. So I recently had being separated from Caterpillar recently after 30 years. It was funny. I was eating my I was taking the last bite of my celebratory cake. Dan, you've worked 30 years for Caterpillar. They took me into an office and said, if you don't move to Tucson, you're going to get separated from the company. I said, wait a minute, let me brush my teeth.
Let me
And
have some.
I'm like,
Yeah, I never
I
got
can't go
cake,
to,
believe it or not. I never got cake. I I got a boot. You don't want to know where I found it, but
yeah,
hey,
it's
let's talk about something like near and dear. Well, not so much near and dear house, but recently, these are some numbers that are kind of fun. Holiday spending numbers, and I ask, I can ask you about Thanksgiving because I'm fine. I live alone. My kids didn't come to visit me this year. I made a beautiful turkey loaf, but I probably spent 18 bucks, maybe. But the
nice.
average family of four spends approximately 175 on food, another 110 on drinks because they're not in my family, because that 110 on drinks are probably more like 410. But
Yep,
for a total of 285 on food and beverages. So the overall American household, again, this is American number because Thanksgiving, but spends around 952 bucks on the entire holiday, which includes food, drinks, travel, decorations, and other stuff. So 1,000 bucks. Which is crazy to me. But like I say, it's kind of well within range for most families. I don't know about you though, um, but we can touch base on because like I say, let's say 110 bucks on drinks. That could I doubt it. Everybody's drinking 110 bucks worth of sweet tea, so it's maybe taken into alcohol into account. So we'll have to see um, whether or not I could dig it more into the numbers, but anyway, so the next happiest of holidays, um, the Christmas holiday, uh, what we can talk about because I don't know how you did on Thanksgiving, Dan. How'd you do? Do you know?
yeah, I do. You said 275 on food and drinks. I
Yeah.
was 275 on wine.
Oh,
Um, yeah, we decided to host this year, and this was second year in a row. Just brand new kitchen, and
nice.
so we had 24 people coming.
Good Lord.
Nine showed
Oh, oh,
nine showed. So I had this massive turkey, two turkey breasts, uh, 7 loaves of bread went into the just the stuffing. So we had just a ton of food. Yesterday we had turkey and gravy over biscuits. So yeah, we're giving it away. I would have invited homeless lepers here just to get rid of it. It's
Dan, you could have said just homeless. I mean, the lepers is a nice touch, but the homeless, I mean, but yeah, it's
Oh, I would have invited
oh,
lepers with homes too. Doesn't matter.
that's a good point. Yeah. So it's not all, lepers have lives too.
That's right.
But what about now? But now I mean, because we're recording this and we're not at Christmas yet, but we can speak to Christmas's past because they say the average family of four, and I do have a little Christmas thing I want to touch up afterwards, but spends between 2 to 4 thousand. And for kind of, ooh, I don't think so because I was a family of four for a long time, and so, but okay, well, obviously, if a family of four, the national per person average is like around 900 to $1,000. Not a chance in hell. Not in my lifetime.
No, I would say uh, maybe 600 a person.
Yeah,
But
because I remember when I shouldn't say this, but when my kids were growing up, I had a budget of each for 500 bucks.
okay, yep, that sounds right. But my kids are all grown up and out of the house, and they still have a budget. And
Yeah, yeah, I do too.
yeah, I still get an annual Christmas list, and
Nice.
my youngest is she's very bold and ambitious when she sends her list. But she said, "You don't have to get me everything." I said, "Rest assured, I'm not getting you
Yeah.
everything."
Well,
Yeah.
here, like we talked about, we touched base real quick about corporate greed, and I don't want to get too, but this always amazed me. This is the last thing I'm going to say about Christmas numbers. Uh, like for example, Honda, the car maker, has Happy Honda Days. Uh, Volvo has Volvo Holiday Sign and Drive event. Chevy has the red tech. It's like it's Christmas. You should buy a car. I'm like, what? 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 Because I also put some numbers in there for you, Dan. I see you're shaking your head, but I know you got kids, so I put some numbers together for you. So the
I,
Honda Pilot Touring, it's a smallish SUV, so we better go Ridgeline. Well, let's go Touring for you. $50,000. You okay with that?
no, I don't agree. No, I would never. No, I would never do it. I'm closing on 60 years old, and I have yet to own a brand new vehicle.
Well,
I
then you maybe you deserve at this point, since you've been so good, the 2025 Volvo Holiday Cross Country BS Plus all-wheel drive VSU, which is it's a V60, which is not the V90, but that's only 60K.
I I had a dream that I hit the Powerball, and in the dream I was having an anxiety attack because I went to a car dealer and I was buying a 2-year-old Explorer, and so that was my dream. No, I can't do it. Even in a
Yeah,
dream, a fantasy dream, I can't do it.
I can't see how anybody buys a new car because you and I both know in the back of our minds, the first thing we hear of is the depreciation value. But for me
Yeah,
now, because in Texas, like everybody's got a pickup or a Jeep apparently. Um, so a 2025 Silverado 1500 RST, which I know is like a mid-range, 52K. It's I'll say it's asinine to me. These dealers are like, it's Christmas. I bet you're gonna want a car. Do you remember like last year or the year before they showed a Chevy or GMC commercial where the wife surprised the husband? She's like, I got you something, and it was like a GMC SUV, and then and he's like, oh, you shouldn't have. She's like, don't worry, I got myself something too, and she also bought the GMC pickup
yeah,
truck in red for her, extended cab, of course. So together, $115,000 you spent?
yeah, yeah. And what kind of job do you have? What do you do for a living?
Yeah. Oh,
To be able to afford that, I mean,
even if you
nuts.
can justify it, because I used to live in Seattle, I've seen some big money thrown around because it's a tech town, and a lot of the let's just say younger engineers I would see driving around town in convertible Mustangs. And because that was an engineer of a type from a certain area, because they see America, they see, the Mustang commercials, that was a sign I've made it, apparently. So I saw a lot of those going down. But overall, all these numbers we talked about, just to wrap this up a little bit, we talked about the ages, we talked about financial milestones, we talked about the age to vote, we talked all kinds of things today, which I knew we would, which is pretty fun. But when you look at all this, Dan, let me ask you, are there any numbers that actually matter in your life, were the most important, and is there any one that kind of fooled you?
Um, nothing's really fooled me. I don't think. Um, maybe the BMI, because I always thought I was going to be fit and trim. I didn't believe in. Now the one number that really meant something to me was my retirement number, just the amount of money I had in my 401k. And when I was separated from Caterpillar, I went to a financial advisor, and he was getting up, leaving my kitchen. And I said, "Wait a minute, Alan, Alan, Alan. let me know one thing. Can I retire today? And he looked me dead in the eye and nodded. He said, yes, you can. And
Yeah,
that happened maybe a month ago,
nice.
but that doesn't cover it doesn't cover medical benefits. So we have to do something about that.
Well, I know for a fact that, they have to offer you, of course, you're familiar with this. I don't want to go into it too much, but, Cobra and, like we just touched base Medicare. Well, you're quite a ways away from that, um, but yeah, that's nothing to sneeze at. But, but yeah, I would say, gosh, the number that mattered to me. I don't know. Like you, I think, because we probably had, parents enough that gave us enough information, so none of these numbers took us by surprise. I learned about BMI. I was surprised by my VO2, but I'm pleased with where it is. But a number that matters. Boy, like I say, like the 26 was the one that mattered to me, age 26, because I knew where I would be, married with children. But but yeah, I guess after that, then you start, like, you get to be our age, and like I say, hopefully the people that are listening to this pay attention, because that retirement number means a lot, and it's boring because the best way to get to a satisfactory one is to save like a madman, and let the miracle of compound interest work its magic. That's really
Sure, yeah.
the best advice I think we can give.
If you could afford it, I mean, put away as much as you can, definitely, and
Yeah,
don't bother it. The temptation to take a loan on your 401k is there. Um, don't do it. Just don't touch it.
that's a very good point, because I remember walking into, when I worked at Caterpillar in Illinois, and I was just starting to move into from the production floor to the management realm. And I talked to one of my operations managers. I said, Roger Meyer, if you're listening, I still remember this advice. But that was like 25 years ago. No, it couldn't have been. But anyway, no, it could have been. Yeah, 22 years ago. But I said, Roger, I mean, what should I do? He's like, whatever every penny you can, use the dollar for dollar match, that cat can that'll give you for your savings. And like you say, if you can afford it, because at that time, single parent raising two boys, I didn't have any money to spare. So,
No, you didn't.
but as soon as I could, I started doing that.
But you know what corporations need to do is when they have those kind of conversations about 401ks and uh, HR updating everybody, they need to separate people from middle management and upper management because we had a corporate lawyer that she was talking about, and I'm 29, 30 years old at the time, and I'm saving nickels and pennies, and she's asking what the maximum contribution is for her 401k, and what happens if I exceed it. And they said it was like $25,000. Are you kidding me?
I
You know,
know, I know. I remember those people.
yeah. I
I
mean,
like
that's
how, because they changed it, because they changed it in our lifetimes from a pension plan to a 401k plan or a lump sum plan. So
yep.
I was in the last group. We had a choice. So we could either be in the 401k lump sum plan, or we could be in what they called, are you ready for this one? Retirement incentive plan. Yeah,
Nice,
rest in peace. They gave us the they gave us the RIP option.
nice, nice.
I know. I spit out coffee. I was like, I knew right away. RIP, are you kidding me? But anyway, Dan, it's been good catching up. It's been good chatting about this stuff, and I knew we'd have some fun on a cool winter night here in Austin, Texas. What kind of weather you got there in Pennsylvania?
It was funny you should say that because we had our first snowstorm this morning. I was on my
Nice.
way to and I got a text message. Not that I was texting when I was driving in the middle of a snowstorm, but my new manager told me to turn back and work from home today because it
That's
was it,
crazy.
it was too treacherous.
Yeah, I never got that. I remember texting my manager at Cat in Illinois when we had a snowstorm, and he was like, "If you can make it, I expect you to be here." So I had to stop. I remember, because the Marine was still living at home at the time, and I had to stop when the snow got up to the axle of my Silverado, and I couldn't move any farther. And there was no tracks ahead of me for miles anyway. So I turned around and went home, and later on, the Marine called. I think he would say, "If you pardon my French," well, he said "sissy." Like, he didn't say that, but he was like, "You sissy," but Marine probably didn't say sissy, but
Well, and the one thing I never understood is when you have a snowstorm like that, people always get stuck at home. I've never heard of anybody getting stuck at work.
but I'm bummed. I remember a Saturday working with you in Pennsylvania, and I had to work on a Saturday, and we got pelted with a snowstorm. It was Valentine's, so it was in February, and I had a young lady waiting. Well, she came up to meet me, and she was staying at my place in Bridgeville, and I had to go to work in a snowstorm and pray to God I could just make pray to God because she was really nice, and I wanted to get home. But yeah, we did, but we had to cancel our dinner reservation at Meat and Potatoes up
Oh,
in Pittsburgh.
okay. I know it. Yeah, I know it.
Yeah.
Nice. Good
Yeah,
choice.
it would have been. So,
Yeah.
but I could limp with the four-wheel drive Silverado down to the grocery store and get us a couple lobster tails, and that's yeah, so that's what we did.
Oh, well, good. Yeah. Nice. Nice.
It was a nice Valentine's Day. I'm glad I
Yeah.
brought that up. Now I feel better. So
Nice,
thank
nice
you, Dan, and
recovery.
thanks for sticking around for this whole episode. Hopefully we can get together and do another one.
What's that?
So hopefully we can get together and do another episode.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, it was. And thanks to everybody for supporting Mitch at this for this long, for this, and staying with us for the whole episode. Like I say, if you want to go to mitchwonders.com, just to catch up on all, like Dan will be in there soon, photos from everybody in every episode. They're on there. The latest YouTube link is on there. We're on Spotify. You can check out Mitch on Instagram and TikTok. I know, but we're all over the place. So until next time, my friend, it's been good talking with you.
Bye, man. See ya.
See you, buddy.